All right, number 3 says we've got it tells us the y-intercept of a function, and it gives us the x-intercepts, and it says what's the equation of the function in general form. So down here, we've got our x-intercepts marked and our y-intercepts. So basically, this is just asking what's the equation of that parabola. That's a pretty ugly looking parabola, but that's what we're trying to do here. Okay. So what we're going to do is we look over here, and we have an idea on how to get that, because right here it says I know the x-intercepts P and Q and a third point, which in this case would be the y-intercepts. So we're going to use factored form to come up with the equation, and then we're going to multiply it out in order to get it in general form. All right. So here is factored form or intercept form. All right, and I can plug in now my P and Q. So I can let -4 equal P and +2 equal Q. So x plus 4 and x minus 2. All right, now in order to get A, I'm going to substitute in the y-intercept, which was 0, -16, for x and y. Okay, so that's going to give me -16 equals A. And now for x, I'm going to substitute in 0. And now I'm going to solve that equation for the variable A. So this would be 4, and this would be -2, so that's -8A. So A is going to be +2. -16 divided by 8, +2. Okay, now I can plug that into my equation up here, my original, with my P and my Q, multiply it all out to get my equation in vertex form, or in general form, sorry. All right, from the previous slide, we know A is equal to 2. And then we got X. The previous slide, when we plug in -4 there, we get +4. And then we've got x minus 2. All right, so I'm going to FOIL these two. I'm going to multiply these two binomials, and then when I'm done, I'm going to multiply the 2 through. And I FOILed these two binomials, then I added my like terms, and then I distributed the 2 through, and there's my solution. Okay, question 4 is asking us to use our graphing display calculator to sketch the curve of a quadratic for x between -1 and 2. So we're not going to graph this beyond x equals -1 and -2, just the portion of the graph that fits between these two. And then it says write down the coordinates of the points of the curve where they intersect the x or y axis, and write down the range. So the first thing we're going to do is type in that our equation here. Alright, so we're going to go y equals and let's do it this way here. So y equals -2.9 x squared. Oh, that's awfully small. Let's change that. Okay. Plus 4.9 x plus 5.9. Now, in order to put in the inequality symbols, okay, back here on our notes, zoom in on this. Okay, right here, we're going to put a division sign, parentheses, and then instead of using -1.5, we're going to use -1 is less than or equal to x, then the word and x is less than or equal to 2. Right? Because that's what it's asking us to, that's the restriction here on our domain. Okay, from -1 to 2. So I'm going to go divide and then parentheses. Okay, -1, and then to find the less than or equal to, I go second math. Number 6 is less than or equal to x. And then to put the word and, I go second math. Logic, go over to logic and pick number 1. Now there's and in there. And x less than or equal to second test number 6, 2, and then close my parentheses. And I'm going to put it on a regular graph, so that's a 10 by 10 graph, which is zoom standard. And that's what my graph looks like. So I would sketch this graph, and now what I need to do is find what's this x, what's the y-intercept, and what is this x-intercept. There's only going to be one of them because of the restricted domain. Okay, the y-intercept is pretty easy because when it's in general form here, the y-intercept is whatever the constant is. Okay, so I know my y-intercept is going to be 5.0, 5.9, and I got to find my x-intercept. And also, since this graph opens down, I can get my range. Okay, so when you do range, you're doing from the bottom up. So this would be -infinity up to and including, nope, that's my y-intercept. Sorry, that is incorrect. That is, I got to get the vertex in order to do that. So that is a mistake. I can't do my range yet until I get the vertex. So for this, I have to find the vertex first. All right, so we'll do the x-intercept, and then we'll come back and do the vertex. Okay, so if I open up my graph again, to get my x-intercept, I'm going to use the intersect key, or the 0 key. So I'm going to go, here's my equation, and I'm going to go second calc, and I'm going to pick number 2, a 0. Enter. Okay, and I want to find this 0 down here. So I'm going to move my cursor before the 0. That's my left bound. Enter. Okay, then after my 0, that's my right bound. Enter. And then where I think the 0 is. That's my guess. Enter. And that's my 0. All right, now I want to get the vertex. That's going to be a maximum. So to do that, I'm going to go second calc, and I'm going to pick number 4, maximum. And then I'm going to do my left bound before the vertex. Enter. After the vertex. Enter. And then at the vertex. And that's going to be my maximum. All right, so I'm going to use that. My max is 7.96, so I know that's going to be the top part of my range. Okay, and so now I just indicate my the points that it asks for. It asks for the y-intercept, which we know is the constant. So here I would put 5.9. Okay, or I could list that as 0, 5.9. Now this intercept right here, that was negative 0.813 if I round it. So here would be negative 0.813. Sorry, it's hard to write on this Jamboard. 0. And that's this point. And that was the intercepts that we needed. And then the range would be from, remember, this doesn't go beyond negative 1 here. So at negative 1, there's an imaginary line. And then after that, it doesn't go any deeper than that. So to get the range, we got to figure out what is this y-coordinate. And we know this y-coordinate because it's the y-coordinate of the vertex. So our range is going to be less than or equal to 7.97 and greater than or equal to. So what I need to do is find the y-coordinate when x is negative 1. So I need the y-coordinate when x is negative 1. Okay, so we can do that on our calculator. You go second calc, and you choose value, number 1. Okay, so when I put value in, I can put in what x value? Well, when x is negative 1, whoops, that's a subtraction, negative 1, this is going to return the y value, negative 1.9. So that's the lower end of my range, negative 1.9. Okay, so we used all the different functions that we learned in this on the calculator. The value function, we to get the y coordinate at x equals -1. We use the 0 function to get the x-intercept. We use the maximum function to get the coordinates of the vertex so that we could do the range.